In this today's mathematics session, we are going to start trigonometry as I told you. Basically, what is trigonometry? So since it is the first class, see, starting from the very basic idea of trigonometry, we will move step by step into the trigonometry. Okay? Right. See, what is trigonometry? What is the main purpose in developing trigonometry? And the man who behind this trigonometry, that's what initially we need to know, right? See, basically, trigonometry is a combination of three words. I think you are all familiar with this. Trigonometry. It is basically a combination of three words, and the first word is tri, whereas the second word is gonia, and the third word is metron. Okay? And the name itself is suggesting tri is nothing but three, whereas gonia means angle and metron means measurement. Okay? So trigonometry in the sense three angle measurement, and usually where we will face those three angle measurements. Basically, we will face those three angle measurements in triangles. Is it right? Okay. So our full length of concentration is initially on triangles, because triangle is the minimum possibility of three angles, right? The three angles usually we face at triangles. So trigonometry deals with different properties of triangles. Okay. So trigonometry is three angle measurement. Measurement is nothing but the measuring something. What we are measuring? Not only angles, about all the different parameters related to the three angle measurements we are going to discuss here. Okay. And if you see three angle measurement, and this angle is the word which runs this complete trigonometry. Okay. So three angle measurement is the name trigonometry. Okay. The simple closed figure which is formed by those three angles is the triangle, and this trigonometry in most of the cases deals with triangles, but trigonometry is developed for angles. What I am going to mention you is trigonometry is not meant for triangles. Trigonometry is meant for angles. You need to keep in mind that trigonometry is for triangles or for angles. Trigonometry is for angles, but this the smallest polygon is the triangle. If you know everything about the properties of triangles, then it is very easy to extend the properties of triangles to the quadrilaterals, and then for the hexagons, octagons and everything. That's why usually trigonometry deals with the properties of triangles, and then we will extend all those properties further to different types of polygons again. Right? Once again I am repeating that trigonometry is basically three angle measurement, and trigonometry is meant for angles only, but where the minimum three angles involved is triangle. Okay, there is a possibility of utilization. There is a chance to utilize the concept of trigonometry at any place if the angle is involved. Right? What I am saying? Trigonometry is meant for angles. If there is an angle, then automatically you will get a chance to utilize trigonometry. And by using the concepts of trigonometry, we will simplify the situation related to the certain particular problem. Okay? And basically trigonometry deals with triangles. Why we are dealing with triangles instead of angles? Trigonometry deals with angles, and then we extend it to the triangles. So if we discuss many properties related to the triangles, then it is very easy for us to extend all those properties for different types of polygons. Okay? So three angle measurement and trigonometry is meant for angles. See, basically trigonometry is meant for angles, and this complete discussion is initially developed by the mathematician Hipparchus. Right? Hipparchus is the man who behind this trigonometry. Okay? Hipparchus basically developed all the theory related to the trigonometry. Right? And what is the need to know about this trigonometry? There are many branches in mathematics. I think you are all aware. At early stage of primary level, you learn arithmetics, and when you enter into the high school level, you learn algebra, and along with some geometrical concepts also. So what I am going to tell you is there are many branches in mathematics like arithmetics, algebra, geometry and like that. But what is the need to learn trigonometry? What is the purpose in developing the concepts of trigonometry? If you think why, see, Hipparchus developed trigonometry. Why he develops the trigonometry? Trigonometry simplifies many difficult situations of geometry. Okay, see, along with the Hipparchus, we have another mathematician. Usually, the name of the mathematician is the René Descartes. René Descartes is the mathematician who connects algebra with the geometry. Right? See, once again, think a while. Geometry is one powerful branch of mathematics. Algebra is another powerful branch of mathematics. If you connect these two branches, then many difficult situations of algebra will get simplified into geometry, and some difficult situations of geometry are get simplified in algebra. So, if you connect algebra and geometry, that connection automatically simplifies many of human difficulties. With that idea, mathematician René Descartes developed a bridge between algebra and geometry, and which is usually the coordinate system. What we are calling it as coordinate geometry, right? I think you are all aware about this coordinate geometry also in your 8th standard, right? Coordinate geometry just works like a bridge between geometry and algebra. That's why we also call this coordinate geometry as algebraic geometry, or sometimes we may mention it as analytical geometry also, right? Now, Hipparchus, what he did is, he connects the geometrical concepts, angles and triangles, the properties of triangles with this coordinate system, right? See, Hipparchus involves the properties of triangles into the coordinate system. To simplify all that work, he develops the trigonometry. And the main purpose of trigonometry is just, look at this, main purpose of trigonometry is the next version of similar triangles, right? I think you know about similar triangles also. Okay, or otherwise I will give you some idea about similar triangles in the next class, right? Or 10 to 15 minutes I will give you a brief idea about similar triangles which we require to run in this chapter, right? So I am again repeating you, trigonometry is the next version of similar triangles, right? There are many applications in geometry. There are many problems, many properties related to the similar triangles. All those problems, all those simplification, all those problems, all those works are get simplified by the trigonometry. So Hipparchus develops trigonometry just to simplify the concepts of similar triangles. In converting the concepts of similar triangles into the simplified manner, he named it as trigonometry. In that connection, he utilizes the concepts of coordinate geometry, right? What I am going to tell you is, trigonometry is the next version of similar triangles. To convert similar triangles into another form like trigonometry, Hipparchus utilizes the concepts of coordinate geometry, right? And then this is the brief introduction of trigonometry. And if you look at this, once again I am repeating you, trigonometry is basically meant for angles, right? Hipparchus develops trigonometry just to simplify different situations related to the similar triangles. And in that conversion, Hipparchus utilizes the concepts of coordinate geometry, right? So with this whole picture, I think you are aware, I think you get an idea about this trigonometry. To enter into the trigonometry, we need certain pre-requirements. What are those pre-requirements? We need at least a minimum knowledge about the concept of angle, right? We need a brief knowledge about the concept of angle, and we need a brief knowledge about the coordinate geometry, coordinate system, and we need a brief knowledge about the similar triangles also. Once again I am repeating you, angle, the concept of angles, concept of similar triangles, and the concept of coordinate system are the three basic requirements to learn and to run with the trigonometry comfortably. Is it right? Since we are learning trigonometry from the very basic idea, right? So you need to learn everything. You need to start with the pre-requirements again. So since this is the complete picture of trigonometry, I am going to revise, I am going to start the class with the concept of angles, right? I will revise the concept of angle, and then I will give you a brief idea about similar triangles, and then I will introduce for you, I will revise the coordinate system again for you, and after having all these pre-requirements, then we are ready to learn and to cook trigonometry. Is it clear for everybody? Just have a look at this and go with a screenshot, right? So, as I said, trigonometry is meant for angles. For any angle, we are able to utilize that, we are able to mix that angle with the concept of coordinate system. Okay, just have a look at this. See, similar triangles, angles, and the coordinate geometry or coordinate system are the three basic requirements to enter into the trigonometry. So, in first two classes, usually I will revise, I will give you all the pre-requirements, and with those pre-requirements, automatically we are free to enter into the trigonometry. Is it right? So, first I am going to start with the concept of angles. Is it right? Yes. Have a look at this. We learned many things in geometry, starting from the concept of point. We know about point, we know about line segment and the concept of line, as well as ray and everything we know. Point, line segment is also the collection of points. Line contains infinite number of points. Ray also contains collection of points having a starting point and it don't have any end point. I think you are all aware about all these concepts, right? Now what I am going to give you is what is an angle. That's what we need to discuss right now. What you say about an angle? See, if you think, to define an angle, initially you need a system of two rays having the same initial point. What is a ray? Ray starts at one particular point, but we don't know the end point of that particular ray. Is it right? See, if you have a system of two rays having the same initial point in a two-dimensional plane, then that idea, that system will generate an angle. Is it right? Just have a look at this. Usually in books, and maybe you know that angle is the union of two rays. This, see, it runs with the basic definition. Union of two rays is an angle. It's a basic definition, leave it. But what I am going to give you is the basic representation of an angle. Okay, if anybody asks you to draw a picture of the angle, to represent an angle, how you will move, right? For that, what I am going to give you is, you need to consider a system of two rays having the same initial point in this two-dimensional plane. Have a look at this. For example, if you say this is the starting point of a ray and ray won't have any end point, say, you may say, first of all, consider this is the ray, right? And if you take any point on this ray, we call this ray as the ray OA. And in the same fashion, starting with the same point, you just take another ray, and if any point on the ray is B, you call it as ray OB. So if you look at the diagram on the board, see, this is a system of two rays having the same initial point O. OA is one particular ray with initial point O, and OB is another ray with initial point B, right? On the two-dimensional plane, we are discussing everything, right? See, I think you know that this board is a part of the plane. If you extend this board in all the directions indefinitely, then it becomes a plane. Is it right? Board is the part of the plane. If you extend the board or this wall in all the four directions endlessly, it becomes a plane. In the same pattern, ray is also, it won't start at anywhere. It won't stop at anywhere. It extends endlessly in this direction, right? It extends endlessly in this direction. These are the rays. If you look at this plane contains infinite number of points. Okay, the first thing is, this plane contains infinite number of points. Second thing is, if you consider a system of two rays having the same initial point O in this plane, this system of two rays will divide the total plane into two parts, or you may say three parts. One thing is points in this region, points in this region, points on the rays. These are the three regions, right? Once again I am repeating you. A plane contains infinite number of points. In that particular plane, if you consider a system of two rays having the same initial point, that system will divide the whole plane into three parts, right? See, one part is the points in this region, other part is the points in this region, and the other part points on these lines. Is it right? Okay, on this rays. Okay. See, first of all, leave the points on this on the system. Consider the points in this part, in this region, and outside the region. Each region is an angle. Once again, I am repeating you for you. See, a system of two rays having same initial point will divide the whole plane into two parts. Each part is known as angle. That is my definition for the angle. Right? Not my definition. That is a perfect definition for the angle. But usually they mention you that union of two rays is an angle. So it also runs. Okay. But the exact definition is, again I am repeating you, a system of two rays having the same initial point. This is the system of two rays having the same initial point. This system usually divides the total plane into two parts. One this part and the other one this part. See, each part is known as angle. So if you look at one part, in that part what you have? You have any rupees? You have any diamonds? What you have? You have points only, man. So there are many points in this region, and usually you have many points in the outer region also. If you consider all these points, right? See, usually manually it is somewhat difficult to look at all the points, right? For our convenience, I am indicating all these things, right? Just have a look at this. This region consists of many points. Okay, you need to imagine. See, this region will move like that because this is a system of two rays. Rays won't stop anywhere. Rays will move and so on. Plane is also endless. So this region also endless. See, up to this you are seeing on the board, but after this the region extends like that. So if you move like that, there are many points in this region. All those points together represent one angle. And if you look at this, there are many points in this region also. All these points in this region again represent another angle, right? Right. Once again I am repeating you. Angle is a part of the plane separated by a system of two rays having same initial point, right? So this is one angle and that is one angle. Usually we call it as one as the interior angle and the other one as the exterior angle. But without loss of generality, usually we say this is the interior angle and this is the exterior angle. And this angle is represented by, that angle is usually represented by, this is A, this is O, this is B. That's why we call it as angle AOB. And there itself we are generating a system, a notation, angle AOB. Okay? Since it is angle AOB, then usually we call this part as the exterior of angle AOB. Right? And usually there is no need to mention interior before the interior angle because we don't use plus sign before the positive numbers, but we use minus sign before the negative numbers. Is it right? So in the same pattern, for the interior angles, no need to mention it as interior. But whereas for the exterior angles, always you need to mention that exterior. Once again I am repeating you, system of two rays with the same initial point will divide the plane into two parts. Each part contains many points and each one is an angle. One is the interior and the other one is the exterior. Here I am saying that this is an interior angle, AOB, then automatically this is the exterior angle, AOB. And for suppose if you say this as the interior, then automatically it becomes exterior. That's not a matter actually. There are two, you say one as interior and automatically other becomes exterior. And what I am mentioning is, for interior, no need to write interior of angle AOB. But for exterior, you need to write it like exterior of angle AOB. Right? So, for our imagination, once again I am imposing you that angle is nothing but collection of points. See, show me an angle. So many of you show that angle is angle. If anybody asks you to show angle and many of you draw like this and you say it is an angle. But this is not an angle. Angle is the points. How many points? Infinite number of points. Show me all those infinite points. See here. This is the collection of infinite points and all these infinite points will make one angle, and we notate it as angle AOB. Angle AOB is just a notation, but the definition is collection of all those infinite points. Is it right? So first thing is the definition of the angle, and the definition completes. What is the definition? At the end, finally I am repeating once again for you, and a system of two rays having the same initial point will divide the plane into two parts. Each part is mentioned as an angle, right? And that is one angle, this is the other angle, we call it as interior, and this is exterior. There ends the definition of angle. See, after that, how to measure an angle. The next part is how to measure an angle. We are going to measure. Measure means, see, angle is this part which contains infinite number of points. If anybody asks you to measure this, you need to measure these points. Okay? How many points are there here? Look here, there are infinite points, right? How to measure those infinite points? Do you measure all those infinite points in terms of kilograms? Do you measure all those points in terms of liters? No, we don't have such measurement, right? See, but then how? How to measure all those infinite points? Then there arises another concept related to this angle. That concept is basically the concept of amount of rotation. See, once again I am repeating you, look at this, we need to measure the angle. Measurement of an angle is nothing but measurement of these infinite points. How to measure all these infinite points? Practically it is impossible to measure infinite number of points, right? Right? So, to measure all those infinite points, we have another idea. That idea is related to the amount of rotation, and I am going to explain you that idea of measuring an angle, right? See, again I am start from the heading, right? Our heading is trigonometry. Trigonometry is meant for angles. So you need to know something about the angles, and I need to give you the definition of the angle, measurement of the angle, and different measurements, system of measurements of the angles. So the first I completed the definition for the angle, and the next task we are at the measurement of the angle. See, to measure the angle, we need to measure all those infinite points. See, measuring infinite points practically it is not possible. So we developed a theoretical way, and that is, see, look at this. This is a system of two rays having the same initial point. You just imagine that if, for suppose, we have a chance to move these two. See, for an angle usually we use two rays, and we call it as first ray and we call it as second ray. This is the initial point, or sometimes we may call it as initial ray, and this as the final ray. And for suppose, if I have two rays like this, okay, they are at, with the starting initial point. Look at this. These are the two rays for suppose. If they are at same initial point, so these are the two rays. For suppose if I move this initial ray on this board to reach the position of final ray, on the way it touches each and every point of this angle. Is it right? Right. Look at this. For example, you have two sticks. Look at this. You have this ray. If these two rays are freely movable, but they are fixed at this particular point, so I have a chance to move this ray. So if you catch this ray and push this ray to reach the position of final ray on this board. For example, if I am pushing like this, see, this is the ray. See, don't do like that. See, lift it, place it. Don't do like that. You need to push it. This is the ray. You need to push on the board. See, to reach the position of final ray. On the way it touches each and every point of the system. Is it right? See, the ray is endless. We are pushing that endless ray. Since we are pushing it like that, on the way it touches every point in this system. So since it touches every point in the system, and that movement is usually mentioned as the measurement of the angle, right? Measurement of the angle. Measuring an angle is nothing but measuring infinite number of points. Measuring infinite number of points is practically impossible, so we have a theoretical way. In the theoretical way, we need to push the initial ray to reach the position of final ray. On the way, it touches each and every point of this system. Since it is touching each and every point of this system, that movement, that amount of rotation is usually nothing but the measurement of the angle. Is it clear? So measurement of the angle is nothing but the measurement of the amount of the rotation required for the initial ray to reach the position of final ray. So Measurement of the angle is nothing but measurement of the amount of rotation. And next task is how to measure that amount of rotation. Okay, just you need to develop an idea. See, step by step we are moving forward, right? See, first thing is about the angle. See, after that the definition of the angle, and after that measurement of the angle, and to measure the angle, which is nothing but the measuring amount of rotation. Measurement of amount of rotation. And our next task is how to measure this amount of rotation. Then to measure the amount of rotation, there you developed an idea of the complete rotation or complete revolution. We say it as CR actually. Okay, complete rotation or complete revolution. What is complete rotation and what is complete revolution? Right? For example, we have initial ray. See, if you move this initial ray to reach its same position, see, this is the ray, move it like this, push it on the board, see, move it like this, move it like this, move it like this. On the way it moves and it covers every point, it touches every point of the plane, and again it reaches to the same position. See, that amount of rotation, that complete formation of the circle, that amount of rotation is usually mentioned as one complete rotation or one complete revolution. Is it right? Once again I am repeating for you, right? We have to measure an angle, we need to measure the amount of rotation. How to measure the amount of rotation? The amount of rotation can be measured in terms of the complete rotation, right? As a part of complete rotation. But what is complete rotation? Complete rotation is the amount of rotation required for a ray to reach its same position is called complete rotation or complete revolution, and we termed it as CR. Is it right? Okay. So for example, this is the ray. Just push it on the board. It moves, it moves, it moves, it moves, it moves, it runs, and then again it reaches the same position. And this way it forms a complete circle, and that is the complete revolution. So what? We have a circle, and then what is the complete revolution? If you have a circle, then that circumference is called the complete rotation. And now, see, this amount of rotation as a part of that complete rotation is mentioned as the angle. For example, if you make a circle by placing, see, you are pushing here. For example, if you place a circle like this, see, you have the circumference with this as center, and this is a circle. See, you can calculate the circumference and you can calculate this length also using thread something. Okay, see, this value, this part of the circumference divided by the total circumference will represent the measurement of the amount of rotation, right? See, here we have a doubt, you may get a doubt. What it is? Where you need to draw a circle. Draw a circle at any place. For example, I have a circle here. See, if you draw a circle here, okay, by taking this O as the center with this point as the radius, if you make a circle here, see, calculate this total circumference and calculate this length. This part divided by the total circumference always maintains the same ratio. What I am going to tell you is, for suppose if this part divided by the total length is 1/6, if you say it as 1/6, then this part divided by this total circle again maintains 1/6 only. In the same way, for suppose if you draw a bigger circle here like this, draw a bigger circle like this, calculates its total circumference and calculates its length. Again it makes 1/6 only. Okay, this part, length of this part divided by the total circumference always gives us 1/6. That 1/6 is mentioned as the angle. So what is the measurement of the angle? 1/6 of the complete rotation. What is a complete rotation? A circle with this initial point as the center, right? Where we need to draw a circle, with what radius we need to draw? No problem, you just draw a circle with any radius, but the center should be this initial point. Is it right? See, you may draw a smaller circle, you may draw a medium circle, you may draw a bigger circle. For example, if there are 100 people out there, 100 people, you just draw 100 circles with different radii, but the center should be same for all of you, right? See, if you draw 100 circles, and after drawing those 100 circles, I will give you a task for all of you, right? For example, this is first circle, this is second circle, and this black color thing is the third circle. Like that, you just draw 100 circles. And my task for you is, you just calculate this length. You just calculate this length, and then divide this length. See, everybody have one circle with you right now. With that circle, you just calculate this length, okay? Right? And everybody you just divide this length divided by the total circumference of the circle. So first person will divide this length with the total circumference. Second person will divide this length with the total circumference. Third person will divide this length with the total circumference. Like that, if 100 people do in the same pattern, for all those 100 people, the ratio is a constant. That ratio is just like 1 by 6. See, for example, I am taking it as 1 by 6. You may get it as 3 by 8 or 13 by 17, anything, no problem, right? That ratio is fixed for everybody. And that fixed quantity, right? See, if it is 1 by 6, our angle is 1 by 6 of the complete rotation. If that constant ratio is some 13 by 17, then 13 by 17 times of the complete rotation is the measurement of the angle, right? Like once again, I will repeat for you. This is all the theoretical discussion, okay? At the end, to solve the problems, we need some formulas. But while developing all those formulae, we need some theoretical idea in our minds, right? See, we are discussing in such a theoretical manner. The first thing is the angle, definition. Second one is the measurement of the angle. But it is impossible to measure the angle practically. So measurement of the angle is nothing but the measurement of the complete rotation. And how to measure the complete rotation? See, complete rotation can be measured in terms of the complete revolution. But what you say about the complete revolution? Complete revolution is the one full circle with this initial point as the center and anything as the radius. And the next thing is, draw a circle at any position. But this required length, this required arc length divided by the total circumference is always fixed, and with that constant ratio, we will measure the angle as 1 by 6 of the complete rotation, right? But every time if you need to measure the angle, doing all this process is somewhat time taking, is it right? See, for a person to measure an angle, see, drawing a circle, calculating this arc length, and again making a ratio, everything is time taking. So to simplify that task, we have different simplified techniques to measure the angle. Among those, one of the simplest technique is, see, initially we need to carry a circle with us. Instead of drawing the circle, you just carry a circle with you, a circular disc, is it right? So if you have a circular disc with you, place that circular disc here, and then after placing that circular disc, you may count this length and divide it with the total circumference, and that directly gives you the answer. But again, calculating the circumference and calculating the arc length again somewhat tedious. So you just divide your carrying circle into different parts. Some people may divide like 360, some people may divide like 400, some people may divide like 1000, some may divide into 100 maybe. For example, I have a circular disc, and that circular disc, the length of that circular disc, for example, have a look at this. I have a circular disc, okay, and initially that circular disc is divided into, okay, you may say it as 360 equal parts. How many parts I am dividing? It into 360 equal parts, right? You came here with that circular disc, then place that circular disc here such that this point will coincide with the center, and after that replacement, you just count the number of equal divisions in this region. For suppose if those number of equal divisions are 60, right, this length is 60 equal divisions out of the 360, then that 60 equal divisions by 360 will give us 1 by 6, and this angle is 1 by 6 of the complete revolution. And later we represent each division as 1 degree, and you call that angle as 60 degrees. Alright, so usually in your geometry box we have half compasses, right? To measure the angle, you have a protract, right? See, see, for the engineering people may use the full length protractors also. It looks like full circle, which is divided by 360 equal parts. But commercially, if you move, see, half circle is enough to measure the angle, and usually we have that protractors in our geometry boxes, right? So again, I am repeating you, to measure the angle, we need to measure all the points. Measuring all the points is nothing but measuring the amount of rotation. Measuring the amount of rotation is nothing but measuring the movement in terms of complete revolution. To measure the movement in terms of complete revolution, every time you need to draw a circle, but it is somewhat risky, time taking, no? So instead of that, every time you need to carry a circle, right? That carrying circle is our protractor. Okay, this process happens from early times only, right? So still till now we are replacing the same protractor in our geometry boxes, right? This is something about the concept of angle. Again, I will give you different types of systems of measurements of the angle. Have a look, go for a screenshot. See, if you look at this, see, just I am considering this 1/6 of the complete revolution as an example to discuss with you. See, for different angles you will get different ratios. See, every time angle is nothing but just this length divided by the total circumference, right? See, here the circumference is not the complete revolution. I am repeating, complete revolution is just an idea of complete rotation. If you are here, see, if you have a chance to rotate completely, that is complete revolution. If you move in a bigger circle, that is complete revolution. If you move in somewhat bigger circle, again that is complete revolution. Complete revolution is not the measurement of the circumference. Complete revolution is just an idea of the complete revolution. Just wherever you start, you need to reach the same position, but you need to move in a circular manner. Here we are rotating this initial ray to reach its same position, right? Thereon you will get a circle. Sometimes you get small circle, sometimes you get medium, and sometimes you get larger circle. But every time this length divided by the total circle, this length divided by the total circle is always constant. That constant ratio is usually termed as the measurement of the angle. Is it right? So here, for example, I am mentioning this angle as 1/6 of the complete revolution. In some cases, you may get some other ratios. Is it right? So this is the basic definition of the measurement for the angle. And with this basic idea, different countries, different cultured people develop different systems of measurements to measure the angles. And everything we are going to handle in the next class. Thank you.